Okay, so we are doing Magadhan Empire. So the thing is, you have to focus, like I said before, on the factual aspect. What if Ashoka was a good person or a bad person? If Bimbisar was a good person or bad person? What if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? This is not something which concerns us. हमें क्या concern है? Who was the king? What is the chronology? What are the important works? Okay. So all these things are important. So always focus on the factual aspect. Never focus on the subjective conceptual aspects. Okay. So keep that in mind. Anyways, हम लोग बात करते हैं मगधन एम्पायर के बारे में. So as you know, Magadhan Empire, Magad was an empire. Rather, Magad was a Mahajanapad. Magad started as what? Magad was a Mahajanapad and it enjoyed certain benefits over other Mahajanapads. Now, what were those benefits? Let us see. So, why Magad rose? There were 16 other Mahajanapads, but why Magad rose? So, you have strong governance, you have military might, strategic riverine trade networks, and proximity to the rich iron deposits. So, Bihar जो है, which ironically is said to be a cursed land today because of its poverty, was at one time one of the richest Mahajanapad. Okay. So all these things, they helped. उसके साथ साथ capital, what were the capital? It was first, it was Rajgir or Rajgriha, which was in a hilly area, and it was very difficult to capture Rajgir. In see what happens now is that they have dynamited the mountains and they have made roads. Okay, so you can drive very easily. Okay, you can stroll to Rajgir very easily. The problem is in those days it was surrounded by mountains from all sides. Okay, so it was not so easy. Okay, so you have to keep this in mind. Then after Rajgir, they went to Patliputra, that is present day Patna. And from three sides, it was protected by water. So now you have those motor boats, na? But early times, just think what used to happen in 500, 400 BCE. It was not very easy for any army, okay, to march on Magad. And that is why Magad rose. Among all the Mahajanapads, Magad jo hai, it rose. Okay, ठीक है. So if you will see, it was one of the most prominent Mahajanapads in ancient India, and it was located primarily in south of the Ganga in present-day Bihar. Heartland included the area around Rajgir and Patna, and it had fertile Gangetic plains, riverine trade routes, and strategic locations, which gave it an economic and military edge over rival Mahajanapads like Kosala, Avanti, and Vrijji. So who were its rivals? Kosala, Avanti and Vajji or Vrijji. ठीक है. तो की टर्म क्या है? महाजनपद. These are large territorial states which existed in the 6th century BCE. Then you have Rajgriha, that was the original capital of Magad. Okay, that was the original capital of the Magad. See, rivalry was there. There was alliances as well as rivalry, and it existed throughout the period. Okay. So let us talk about the early dynasties. Rajgriha is present in Bihar only. It's present in southern Bihar. Okay. So early dynasties of Magad, Haryanka dynasty. So it was basically Bimbisar who made Haryanka dynasty famous. And he is often credited with laying the foundations of Mughal imperial power. Bimbisar was not the founder. Bimbisar's ancestors were the founder of the Haryanka dynasty, but Bimbisar was the first major king from the Haryanka dynasty. And he annexed Ang, that is in eastern Bihar. If you remember Champa or Cham, so that area that is present day Bhagalpur. Okay, so that was in eastern Bihar. And to gain control over the trade routes to the east, जो ईस्ट की तरफ ट्रेड रूट्स जा रहे थे, उनके लिए इन्होंने यहां से इसको अनेक्स किया था, किसको, अंग प्रदेश को और अंगा. Then he fostered diplomatic marriages. He married princes from the Kosala, Vaishali, and Madra, thus forging alliances. So he married, okay, he married all these princesses. Why? Because see, marriage for the elites is a strategic tool. Marriage for the elites is what? It is a strategic tool. That is what you have to keep in mind. Yes, Mahabharata reference is also there, that all these states, they carry the name that is mentioned in Mahabharata as well. Okay, Panchal, Kuru, Indraprasth, Ang, है ना? So he was known for administrative innovation and he appointed governors to manage the distant regions. His capital was at Rajgriha. Rajgriha, you have a kund also. Do you know what is a kund? It's a place where you can have a ritualistic bath. And there is a kund which carries hot water. In that kund, there is hot water. Now you cannot have, why? Because there is a lot of crowd. So you cannot have a dip. It becomes very problematic. But in those days, it was used for ritualistic purposes. Okay, because it used to carry the hot water from the, okay, below the mountain जो रहता है water geyser type का, उस तरीके का आपको मिल जाता था वहां पर. Then you have Ajat Shatru. So Ajat Shatru was the son of Bimbisar. So please remember there is a difference between Bimbisar and Bindusar. Don't get confused here. Okay, Bimbisar और बिंदुसार में कंफ्यूज नहीं होइएगा. बिंबिसार इज फ्रॉम हरियंका डायनेस्टी. बिंदुसार is from the Maurya dynasty, and Bindusar, I have told you the story how he got the name Bindusar. He was his father was poisoned, tried to the spies, they tried to poison his father. His mother ate it. His mother was dying because of the ingestion of the poison, and then Kautilya or Chanakya, he did an emergency C-section and got the kid out before his mother passed away. So that is why Bindusar, and Bimbisar is from Haryanka dynasty, part of the great Magadhan empire. And Ajat Shatru fought war with Koshal and Lichavis, which were part of the Vrijji confederacy. Lichavis आपको पता है, Vaishali. And Vaishali ये क्यों important है? Because this was a republic. 7,000 representatives, they basically controlled this confederacy, लेकिन कुछ हुआ नहीं. They were brutally conquered. Okay, they were brutally conquered by Ajat Shatru. No, this is part of North Bihar. Okay, this is part of North Bihar. And he built a fortified city at Patligram, which later became Patliputra. And he is credited with using early war engines, जिसमें Mahashila Kantaka, that is catapult, and Ratha Musala, that is chariot with spinning blades. तो chariots जो होते थे उनके आप व्हील्स पे जो है, यू हैड दोस स्पिनिंग ब्लेड्स. तो जैसे आपने देखा है महाभारत में, ओके, बाहुबली मूवी, इट्स अ वेरी गुड एग्जांपल. सो रथ मुसल्ला एंड महाशीला कंटका. So these two are important. Please remember this. This can be there if UPSC tries to get questions from here. And the thing is that I'll be very honest. Magadhan Empire has not been featuring in UPSC questions for a very, very, very long time. It used to be somewhat popular in the 90s, but after that, it has gone down. But you never know when UPSC will revive any topics. Okay, it has happened before that there were some topics which were there for the 1990s, and then all of a sudden UPSC in 2021-22 it revived. So if it is there in the syllabus, you have to learn it. Okay. Then he was also patron of Buddhism. Now this is again important, that Bimbisar from the Harayanka dynasty was a patron of Buddhism, and he is traditionally associated with the first Buddhist council at Rajgriha. Okay. Then comes Udayan. He was the son of Ajat Shatru and he continued the wars with Avanti. So अवंती के साथ जो है, अवंती के साथ दो सिटीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. देयर आर टू सिटीज विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एसोसिएटेड विद अवंती. कैन यू टेल मी, कैन यू टेल मी द टू सिटीज? इट वाज उज्जैनी एंड महिष्मती. याद है, हमने कल किया था. उज्जैनी एंड महिष्मती, दो सिटीज जो थे इंपॉर्टेंट थे, विच सर्व्ड एज द टू मेजर सेंटर्स. ओके. यस. सो अब यहां पर अगर आप देखिएगा, ओके, यहां पर अगर आप देखिएगा तो what is the thing, okay, what is the thing that we are seeing here is that कि हरियंका डायनेस्टी, okay, हरियंका डायनेस्टी, okay, that is most important dynasty, and then comes your Nanda dynasty. The Nanda dynasty was the dynasty which was there when the Magadhan empire fell. Okay, so the thing is that Nanda dynasty was not very weak when it fell. It was the internal corruption. Although it had a very large standing army with thousands of elephants, but it was the internal corruption. Okay, ठीक है, तो ये चीज आपको याद रखना है. ऑलराइट, यस. सो बुद्ध जो है उनका बिंबिसार, ओके, बिंबिसार जो है, एंड देन यू हैड अजात शत्रु. ओके, अजात शत्रु, ऑल्सो प्रसेनजित. ओके, ऑल्सो प्रसेनजित जो है हम जनरली इनसे जोड़ते हैं. ओके, जनरली जो है हम लोग इनसे जोड़ते हैं, बट यहां पर जो है, ओके, यहां पर जो है बिंबिसार जो है उनके माने जाते हैं, उनके कंटेम्प्ररी माने जाते हैं. ठीक है. सो बुद्ध जो है उनका महापरिनिर्वाण कब हुआ था? एनी आइडिया? उनका जो महापरिनिर्वाण जो है, इट हैपेंड इन 483 बीसीई. ओके, इट हैपेंड व्हेन? इट हैपेंड इन 483 BCE at which place? At which place? So ये जो है बेसिकली ये बताता है हमें कुशीनगर. वेरी गुड. सो ये बताता है हमें कि बिंबिसार और अजात शत्रु, ओके, बिंबिसार और अजात शत्रु दोनों के समय थे ये. ओके, सो 483 BC में ऑलरेडी बिंबिसार हैड पास्ड अवे इन 492 BC. ओके, इफ यू विल सी हियर, सो 492 BC में मर चुका था, और बुद्धा जो है 11 साल 9 साल और जिंदा रहे थे. सो वी कैन से विथ कॉन्फिडेंस दैट ही सॉ बोथ बिंबिसार एंड अजात शत्रु. ही सॉ बोथ बिंबिसार एंड अजात शत्रु. ठीक है. अब यहां पर जो है देर आर सम डिबेट्स अबाउट द डेट्स. सी, उस समय का जो डेटिंग है, उस समय का जो क्रोनोलॉजी है, जो डेटिंग है, इट इज नॉट वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. ओके, सो वी डू नॉट नो. सम पीपल से दैट ओके, ये जो आपका बिंबिसार है ही वाज फ्रॉम 544. सम पीपल दे से 427. लेकिन जो कंटेम्प्ररी सोर्सेज हैं एंड द सोर्सेज दैट वी फॉलो फॉर यूपीएससी, उसमें जो है द डेथ ऑफ बिंबिसार इज 492 BCE एंड द डेथ ऑफ बुद्धा इज 483 BCE. सो 9 years we can say Buddha lived more than Bimbisar. Is it clear to everybody? क्या ये चीज सभी को क्लियर हो गई? ओके. एंड द बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल एज वेल. ओके, बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल जो है दैट वाज आल्सो हेल्ड आफ्टर द डेथ. दैट वाज हेल्ड व्हेन? दैट वाज हेल्ड आफ्टर द डेथ. एंड यहां पर जो है फर्स्ट बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल किसने किया था? अजात शत्रु ने. ठीक है, अजात शत्रु ने इनका बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल किया था. वाई? बिकॉज ही वॉज प्रेजेंट ड्यूरिंग बुद्धा's डेथ. सो बिंबिसार एंड हिज सन अजात शत्रु एंड द किंग प्रसेनजित, so these three are generally linked with Buddha's life, that these three were present during Buddha's life. Is it clear to everybody? क्या ये डाउट क्लियर हो गया? ओके. सो उदयन जो है, He was the son of Ajat-Shatru. Buddha had already passed away. The Buddhist council was already held under the leadership of, or under the patronage of, Ajat-Shatru. And then he continued the wars with Avanti. And he was the founder of Patliputra. So his father, he had this fort of Patligram. And then he said that, nee, this is better than Rajgriha. Rajgriha was very isolated. So he said that, okay, let me make the capital at Patligram and I'll make it Patliputra. So it was at the confluence of Ganga and Son rivers. So it was a Jal Durg. It was what? It was a Jal Durg. Jal Durg means water fortress. And then after Udayan, the Haryanka dynasty weakened, paving way for a new ruling line. So what happens is that if a person named Udayan, okay, is in charge, everything is good. But after, you can see here, after Udayan, the Haryanka dynasty, it fell down. Okay. So this is something that you have to keep in mind. An important site isme Rajgriha hai. It is a early fortress capital which was encircled by 5 hills. And it is an important seat of Buddha's teaching as well. And there is Saptaparani cave. So please remember this. This is important. Saptaparani cave. Saptaparani cave. Okay. तो ये इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑल दीज केव साइट्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट, especially for the Mauryans and the Magadhans. The cave sites are important because temple building was not common. Why temple building was not common? Because Hinduism was on the decline, Buddhism was on the rise. And Buddhism में क्या होता है? What happens in Buddhism? You don't build grand temples. This whole concept of building idols for Buddha, it came later. After which Buddhist council? The fourth Buddhist council under the patronage of Kanishk. Okay, so just think like this. After the death of Buddha, till the fourth Buddhist council, there was a gap of approximately 700 years. So for 700 years, Buddhism was practiced in its original form. That is meditation. That is through annihilation of desires. And how it was achieved? Through penance. So, iske liye you don't need grand temples, na. That is why when we are talking about the Magadhan architecture, caves become important. Why caves? Because cave is a place where you do meditation. Cave is a place where you conduct meditation, and that is why caves were made. If you will look even for Ajivikas, the caves were made. And that is why if a question will come in GS1 mains about the art and architecture of either Magadhan or Mauryan Empire, you are going to focus on the cave architecture and the stupas. These two, why? Because these two are linked to Buddhism. Okay. Then after this, you have Shishunag dynasty, which was there from 413 to 345 BCE. Shishunag jo tha, he overthrew the last Haryanka king and he temporarily shifted the capital to Vaishali, though Rajgriha remained important site, and he successfully fought against Avanti, eventually incorporating it into Magad. तो मगध को किसने मगध और अवंती को किसने मिलाया था? Who merged Avanti with Magad and expanded the kingdom till Madhya Pradesh? It was Shishunag. Then you have Kal Ashoka. Kal Ashoka is the son of Shishunag, and he is also a very ardent Buddhist follower, and he was associated with the second Buddhist council, and it was held at Vaishali. So please remember all these. The first Buddhist council, Ajat Shatru, the second Buddhist council, Kal Ashok. ठीक है, तो इसको डिटेल में करेंगे, but please do keep this in mind. And the dynasty eventually weakened, overshadowed by emerging and powerful ministers and generals. And then you have the Nanda dynasty, and it was established by deposing the Shishunags. So Shishu, सबसे पहले हरियंका, उसके बाद Shishunag, and then finally Nanda dynasty. Nanda dynasty जो है, this is basically the last dynasty of the Magadhan Empire, and it was replaced by the Mauryans. So Mahapadmananda, he was the founder of the Nanda dynasty, and he was called by some ancient texts as Ekarath. which is the single monarch or the destroyer of all Kshatriyas, which indicated his large conquest. He was known for his vast wealth and his strong standing army. So, यहाँ पर क्या था? That there was a lot of internal corruption. The lives of the people were miserable, but the state was very strong. किसी स्टेट की याद आ रही है इससे आपको? The people are miserable, but the state is doing fine. हाँ ठीक है. Then Dhananand. तो धनानंद जो है, he was the last Nanda ruler and he was known for excessive taxation and unpopularity among the populace because internal corruption, and he was overthrown by Chandragupta Maurya with the aid of Chanakya. Okay. So ekarat याद रखिएगा, it is the title given to the Nanda king. Okay, Mahapadma Nanda. Then comes ascendancy of Magad and the reason for success. So इसमें geographical advantages क्या क्या थे? Fertile alluvial plains of Ganga, natural fortification by hills around Rajgriha, and the control of the riverine trade routes, जिसमें गंगा, सोन और गंडक, three important rivers were there. There was rich iron deposit which helped with weapon making and agricultural tool making, and there was efficient administration and military innovation. Mahashila Kantaka याद है, और रथ मुसला. If you will remember, Ajat Shatru's important military inventions. So these are important. And economic prosperity, there was trade in timber, iron, and textiles. So see, economic prosperity is not the same as we say here in the modern world. Modern world में क्या होता है? Okay, poverty is less. People are having some kind of social security net. Everybody has AC. Everybody has a car. So the thing is that in those days, material wealth was very low. Okay, it was very difficult. आप जैसे अभी क्या होता है, दही खाना है. If suppose you want to eat curd, you can go to the Mother Dairy booth or the Amul booth and you can just get a 10 rupee packet. In those days, it used to take 3 hours just to make, okay, just to make from the rudimentary tools 1 cup of dahi. So think from that perspective that material wealth was not present at that scale. मटेरियल वेल्थ जो है ह्यूमन सिविलाइजेशन में कब से आना स्टार्ट हुआ है? इट हैज स्टार्टेड टू कम इनटू ह्यूमन सिविलाइजेशन फ्रॉम द पास्ट 100-150 years only. For the past 100-150 years, due to the industrial revolution, due to the automation of the factories, we have got materially wealthy. So उस समय का wealth is different. Those days the wealth is different. It was relative wealth. So people might used to say, suppose let us say people in Gandhar, they might used to talk about Magad by saying that, okay, people there, they have 3 square meals a day. And the Gandhar people, they used to say, how is that possible that they are having 3 square meals? So you have to understand from the context. Jainism also rose at this period only. Okay. So political acumen also was there of Bimbisar. He married. इसके बेटे ने अजात शत्रु, he trampled and invaded, but Bimbisar was more strategic. Okay. Also, उस समय अगर आप सोचिएगा, so you will see that okay, there was one urban center, and then for thousands of kilometers, hundreds of kilometers, there was nothing. Now what happens? Every 100 kilometers or every 50 kilometers, you have a city or a town at least. Okay. So Bimbisar जो है, okay, Bimbisar, he married princes from different Janapads. Okay. Important urban centers are Rajgriha, Patliputra. River ports जो है, riverine ports था. There was no, basically हम उसको नहीं कहेंगे. Bharuch is there. Okay. भारूच जो है वो था, आपको याद होगा. ओके. और ताम्रलिप्टी, सो तामलुक इन बंगाल, ताम्रलिप्टी इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट पोर्ट. इट्स अ सी पोर्ट, डियर फ्रेंड्स, एंड दिस आल्सो गेन्ड प्रोमिनेंट ड्यूरिंग द गुप्ता पीरियड. ओके, और गुप्ता पीरियड. ठीक है. सो पोर्ट ऑफ कौशंबी ऑन यमुना आल्सो वाज एन इंपॉर्टेंट रिवराइन पोर्ट. एंड इसमें अगर देखिएगा तो फर्स्ट बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल, इट took place shortly after Buddha's death under the patronage of Ajat Shatru. आज किसके पैट्रोनेज में बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल्स होता है? एनी आइडिया? बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल जो है अभी भी होता है, बट इट इज नॉट, इट इज बेसिकली द congregation of the Buddhists people from all over the world. So it happens under the patronage of Bihar government. Bihar government जो है, it provides space, it provides water, it provides, okay, all these things. In Gaya it happens, okay. So what happened in the first Buddhist council? So canon compilation, Vinay Pitaka and Sut Pitaka were done. एक और पिताका है, उसका नाम क्या है? अभिधम्म पिताका. So three pitakas are there, Buddhist text, जिसमें विनय पिताका, सुत पिताका एंड अभिधम्म पिताका होता है. क्या होता है, दैट वी विल कवर इन द बुद्धिज्म एंड जैनिज्म क्लास, ओके. Then you had the second Buddhist council, and it was held at Vaishali, and it dealt with the monastic discipline disputes. इसमें क्या था? How to conduct oneself. See, all these things happen when the patriarch is gone. For the Buddhist, who was the patriarch? It was Buddha. Okay, so Buddha was the patriarch of the organization, and there was no Buddha now because Buddha attained his Mahaparinirvan. So earlier they could have consulted Buddha on what to do, but after Buddha passed away, different people had different interpretations. You see this same thing with Prophet Muhammad, that okay, after his death there was a split among the Shias and the Sunnis. After the death of the 24th Tirthankar, Mahavir, Lord Mahavir, there was again a split among the Shwetambar and the Digambar. Why? Because there is always politics. In large organizations, there is always politics that you have to deal with. So the followers, they try to gain influence, because see, when the patriarch is alive, like Buddha, Mahavir, when they were alive, nobody tried to touch their status because their status was sacred. But once the patriarch dies, they started having these councils where they split. Okay, because there was tussle कि बुद्धा की लेगेसी कौन लेगा, who will be having the more power. So all these problems which happened after Buddha's death was solved via the Buddhist councils. And Buddhist council was also a sort of a way to ensure that the disputes among the followers of Buddha stay within the Buddhist fold and they do not spill outside. Okay. सो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव टर्मिनोलॉजी क्या क्या है इंपॉर्टेंट? अमत्या मैंने कल बताया था, महाअमत्या, दीज आर द मिनिस्टर्स और हाई ऑफिशियल्स. देन यू हैव ग्रामिका, विच इज द विलेज हेड, जिसको हम बाद में ग्राम भोजा भी कहा करते हैं. तो ग्रामिका वाज द विलेज हेड. देन यू हैव राजुक, बेसिकली इट वाज अ रेवेन्यू ऑफिसर. एंड देन यू हैव कोश, दैट इज द ट्रेजरी, कोषाध्यक्ष. व्हाट इज अ कोषाध्यक्ष? जो कोष की अध्यक्षता करे, somebody who controls the treasury. Kosh means treasury. So this was basically the treasury which was crucial for Nanda's wealth accumulation. Okay. So this is the whole thing. A quick chronological overview है. So if you will read this, it will hardly take you 5 minutes. After the lecture, if you have attended the lecture, it will take you 5 minutes. But यहाँ पर जो है इस तरीके से आपको दिया गया है ये पूरा नोट्स, दैट हिस्ट्री शुड नॉट बी बकैती. ओके, बहुत ज्यादा बकैती ऑलरेडी हो चुकी है यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन में रिगार्डिंग हिस्ट्री. इट शुड बी टू द पॉइंट. ओके, वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू व्हाट? वी आर ट्राइंग टू रीड हिस्ट्री ऑब्जेक्टिवली. वी आर ट्राइंग टू रीड समथिंग ऑब्जेक्टिवली फ्रॉम एन एग्जाम पर्सपेक्टिव. तो उसको वैसे ही पढ़िएगा. इट विल टेक यू 5 minutes, not more, 10 minutes maximum, not more than this, to just go through this handout. I hope you have understood that what is needed to be done.